Testing. Is this working now with my audio? It looks like in OBS my audio is going through twice, and I don't know why it is, but can you hear my voice now? Okay. Okay. See, this is it's been such a struggle since switching to a multi-PC setup for streaming, just because stuff can be intensive. And apparently with my current multi-PC setup, the audio situation is like all screwy. So hopefully we can get that fixed in the near future. I'll probably do some stuff offline later to try to fix that. Okay, let me restart then. Um, Hello and welcome. And today we're going to learn how to convert VRChat models over to VRM. Oh, thank you for the follow. We're going to learn how to convert VRChat models to VRM so you can use them in either Warudo, VCFace, or any other VTubing app you want. But we're also going to be focusing specifically on the Mikoverse today, since that is kind of the big thing right now. So in order to convert VRChat models, there's a couple things you need first. First, you need Unity. So what we want to do is we want to install the Unity Hub. Make sure my mouse is on the correct computer as well, so my mouse is on the wrong one. First I'm going to do is I want to get the Unity Hub, and there is 2 installations you need for VRChat. The first one you're going to need is down here. It is the 2019.4.31. That is the old VRChat SDK. It's what the old VRChat uses. And you also need 2022.3.6. That is for the newest VRChat SDK. And you want to have both because if you go and download a model off of Gumroad or you download a model off of Booth, there's a good chance it'll probably be an older SDK versus the newer SDK. There's just want to make sure you have both, so you have full compatibility with all the VRChat models out there. After you've installed both Unity 2022 and 2019, you need to get the VRChat SDK. So VRChat actually simplified that a lot nowadays and have what's called the VRChat Creator Companion. It's very easy to use. I just download it off of the VRChat website, and it'll install, and it'll detect the Unity versions that you have installed for you. So it's really helpful to use, and it looks kind of like this. This is what it looks like. Now, obviously, I have some example projects already here already. What we're going to do is create a completely new project, just to kind of go through the whole process of how to, import everything that we need. So what we're going to do today is the model I'm going to be using is going to be a 2019 VRChat model. So let's create a new project. And you want to click on 2019 avatar project. Again, if you're downloading a model that's made at the newer SDK, you want to use Unity 2022 avatar project. We're going to do 2019, and we're just going to label this tutorial. So it's just going to be simply named tutorial. It's going to go into my VRChat project folder, and you're going to hit create project. Give it a second. So you'll see here there's a bunch of these other add-ons and stuff. All we really need is going to be the VRChat packages, the SDK base and SDK avatars. These are useful if you want to have things like audio link, which is something that you can do in VRChat. You can link audio to parts of your avatar. Not every avatar is going to have that, so it's not fully needed. If you're only doing characters, you don't need the world kit. And so forth. So we're just going to simply have only these top 3. These ones, like I said, they're optional, and they have some nifty uses for them, like the audio link. So it's going to go ahead and now click on Open Project, and that's going to open it up in Unity. Now, Unity does take like a few minutes to load, even on a good system like mine. Unity is just kind of slow to load up, so hopefully it doesn't take too long. And you can see it kind of here off in the corner, doing its thing. In the meantime, I'm going to hydrate real quick. Make sure y'all are hydrating as well. And let me know if the audio is too loud. The audio should be limited to like 35 decibels or negative 35 decibels. But please let me know if the audio is too loud. With the multi-PC setup, I can't really tell what is going on the other computer like I can on my main computer. Okay, so Unity is almost done loading. Now, while we're waiting for that, there's actually two other things we're gonna need. So the most common, hold on, we got a bot to deal with. Try to remember, how do I not take care of bots from here? Slash ban. Yep, I'm working on it. There we go. One day I will hire mods, but I don't stream enough to justify hiring mods right now. Alright, so like I was saying though, there's two things we're also going to need in addition to the VRChat creator companion, and that is the two most common shaders. So the first one is Lil Toon. Lil Toon is a really pretty shader if you want anime themed rendering. It's really nice. You can just download it off of GitHub. You can download it off of Booth. And I believe you can also install it from the VRChat creator companion as well. So you just go to the Lil Toon website. You can just type it in Google, type in Lil Toon, it'll pop up. The other one we're going to need is Poyomi. And Poyomi is on GitHub. And this is another one of the most common shaders for VRChat avatars. And so we're going to have both of them downloaded. Another one that I've seen a lot lately is Arctoon. Arctoon Unity shader. And I don't really know too much about Arctoon specifically, but it is another one of the common shaders I've been seeing a lot lately. So you might want all three, but definitely for sure, we're going to want to have Lil Toon and we're going to want to have Poyomi, so make sure we download both of those as well. So now we have Unity open here, and oh, I resized the Unity window and it freaked out on me. That is another issue with Unity that I don't like. Unity does this to me all the time. I like to have my windows, you know, full screen for you guys, so that way y'all can see what's going on. And sometimes Unity just borks, so give me a second to fix Unity. I think what I usually do to fix is I just close out the whole window. Let's try this again. It should now open up to where it was saved at. You know, sorry for the scuff, but that's just how it be here. We have always scuff in the VTubing world. Oh, I also forgot that we need, probably need Uni VRM. That's important. So let's also grab these two packages as well. Okay, and you know, we don't need that one in here. Let's delete that one. Alright, can Unity open up finally? Yay, Unity's open up. Alright, so here is our project here in Unity. You'll see here it's gonna have this little list of packages down here, and you'll see all the VRChat, you know, packages is what we're gonna need. But there's a few other things, like I said, that we're gonna want to add. So first thing we want to add, and always add these before you import an avatar. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to add in here Uni VRM. So I'm going to just drag and drop Uni VRM here. So I have Uni VRM. We're going to drag and drop that. Click on import. That's going to import Uni VRM into our project. It takes it about a moment to do. Now the actual like initial conversion does not need Blender. Let's straight up actually convert a VRChat model to VRM within Unity. But you won't get everything like your physics. And so we will use Blender in a bit as well, so we can add physics to our model. but I wanted to, show how to do it both ways. Next thing we're going to want to do is we have Lil Tune and Pyomi. So we're going to drop Little Tune in first. And same thing, just drag and drop it over, hit import. It's going to do what it needs to do to import Lil Tune, and then we'll drag and drop Pyomi next. And that way we just have both shaders good to go. So that way, no matter what model we drop in, I will be able to easily convert it over. So now that Lil Tune's installed, we just drag and drop Pyomi over here and hit import. There we go. So now we have all three of these. We need to obviously, create our model or import a model. You can't actually do any modeling within Unity itself. So if you are making a custom model from scratch, you will need Blender, obviously, and we might even do a very simple VRM from scratch in a bit. But I have here a really cute VRChat model, and I also want to say here too, a benefit of VRChat models is there's tons of them. If you just go to for Gumroad and you type in VRChat 3D characters, you'll have tons of options for VRChat avatars, and usually you'll also find tons of outfits and accessories for all of them as well. For example, we have over here, this is Window. Window's probably like the most common VRChat avatar I see. If you've ever seen Fillion, she uses Window, for example. The one we're going to be using today is named Maya, and that is this one right here, over here in this second from the top right. And there's just a bunch of them that are just really well done. And there's also a ton of VRChat models that are not human as well. I've seen all kinds of different creatures and stuff with VRChat models. So obviously there is a ton of choice for VRChat avatars that you can download. Some of them are free, and some of them can cost as much as like 100,000 yen, which is about $100. So keep that in mind too. You don't have to spend a ton of money to use a VRChat avatar, but the more common ones are going to be on that more expensive side. This is Booth. I like to use Booth because it's just where I go. I have my own Booth shop as well. That doesn't really have much on it at the moment. And there's also Gumroad, but Gumroad has a bunch of problems going on right now, so I don't want to go on to Gumroad and show you guys how I download from there. But Booth is really simple. Like I said, you just type in VRChat 3D characters and you'll pop up with tons of options here. So the one I'm going to be using is this one here named Maya. You see here it says that I have bought her, and she's a nice little cat girl here with a cute little witch-like outfit. Now we're going to be actually changing her outfit out for a new outfit that also came from Booth. So now that this is all loaded, I'm going to come here, I'm going to go to my folder that has Maya. Now, the nice thing with Maya is she actually came with a Blender file, so you can just load her directly in Blender. And I believe she came with an FBX as well. But you're not always going to run into that. For example, if I go over here to Neo V1, there was only a Unity package and an FBX. So sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll include a Blender file. Other times you'll just have to rely on the Unity package. So we're just going to drag and drop the Unity package in. And we'll give that a moment. Import everything. It's going to pop up that import window here in a second. So here we go. Here's our import window. And it's going to import it all in. Now, the one thing I'll say is if you use the Unity package, it's a lot easier to import it to something like Warudo or VC Face, because you'll have all of your dynamic bones and stuff already there. If you use the Blender file, you're not going to have all those dynamic bones and other stuff, but you will have a lot more control over what you can do with the avatar by doing it from scratch. Let's see here, we got some warnings. It looks like FBX warning, can't generate normals. That's fine, you can just ignore that if that pops up. And you'll see here now, we now have a folder here, and we have a Maya.prefab and a Maya for edit.prefab. So they actually gave us two options here for it. We'll click on the Maya for edit prefab because we will be making changes. And when you click on that, you'll see here the window changes to blue. And we can now see all of the bones and everything here. It might look a little confusing at first, so don't be afraid of how it looks here. But the actual, converting it to MTune or to VRM is going to be pretty easy step. So first thing we want to do is click on a mesh, right? We're going to click on like her hat. And you'll see down here at the bottom right, there is a portion that says cloth and then has shader. And right now it is using the Unity Chan Toon shader, which is just one of the default shaders for Unity. You're going to click on that and scroll all the way down to VRM. You can't see it because it's actually below that screen. Let me see if I can bring some of these windows up so you can actually see where I'm talking about here. And we'll close out the transform and we'll close that out. So if you click over here where it says shader, you can scroll down. You'll see two options for VRM. So there's VRM 1.0 and then there is VRM. You want to make sure you're using the regular VRM and not VRM 1.0 right now. VRM 1.0 just isn't fully supported by everything. So make sure you're using it. And just going to click on MTune. Now luckily Unity is smart enough to automatically detect the textures, so you don't have to worry too much there. But we're going to do that real quick for all of these, and this is just to make it easier once we get into Blender itself. So same thing, just click on that shader. You're going to set it to MTune for everything. See here, scroll down. This one is effect. Oh, okay. I was trying to remember what effect was. And that's going to be like blend shapes for her face, because she actually has a few different like sets of eyes. Go ahead and do the same thing for the body. Just again make sure. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to use Poyomi, you just come here and you click on Poyomi, for example, and you have like Poyomi 8.1, 7.3, 8.0, so forth. You would click on 8.1, and you would do like Poyomi Toon, and that's going to give us the ability to use Poyomi for the shader. Or same for Lil Toon. You scroll down to Lil Toon, click on Lil Toon, and that's going to change the shader to Lil Toon. This is the one I actually like about Unity the most, is how easy it is to change shaders in Unity compared to changing shaders in other tools. Unity just has that whole system for changing material shaders down to a science, and I absolutely love it. So same thing here. Oh, this one's already set to MTune because we already set that, I believe. Okay, so I just want to go back, make sure everything is set to MTune here. Looks like it is. And we got our hair. Yep, everything's now set to MTune. So once everything is set to MTune, we can now export this as a VRM model. So we're gonna come up here to the top, click export to VRM 0.0x. It's gonna tell you that you need to have the root selected. And I'm gonna go to assets. Oh, actually, that's not selecting for whatever. Whoop, wrong button. Give me a second. That wasn't supposed to go all full screen on me, and now it did. And now I can't move the window. Here. Maya for edit. Give me a second to figure out how to fix my window here. Part of the problem is that my I'm one of those weird people. I have my taskbar on the top of my screen, and because I have the taskbar on the top, this kind of thing happens way more often than I would like to admit, where my taskbar ends up covering up the window, and that can often be a pain in the butt. Automatically hide the taskbar. Let's try that. See if it'll hide that taskbar. If we can hide the taskbar automatically, then I can fix this. There we go. Okay. So normally what you do is you click up here. You want to go into your hierarchy up here, click on Maya for edit, or click on armature, and then you're going to go to VRM, go to export, and it's going to have that now selected. We're going to need a title, so we're going to need to name it Maya VRM conversion. It needs a version, so we're going to go 0.1. And then an author, I don't actually know who the author is, so we're just going to say author, because I actually don't remember the name. And also, if you have a model that is not T-posed, this is where you can tell it to T-pose it or make T-posed for Unity specifically. And then it's going to hit export. And we're going to go over here to our avatars folder. And we're going to make sure we're in our VRChat conversion here. We're going to go Maya for edit VRM is what we're going to name it. And we'll hit save. Now, we could load this into Mikoverse already, but there is one major problem here, okay? And that is, if we were to load it into Mikoverse right now, we would not have our blend shapes for our tracking. And so we want to make sure we have at least a couple, things for tracking. And for that, we're going to use Blender. And also, we want to change our outfit as well. So I'm going to open up Blender. Have Blender open here, and let's make sure this is set to where it needs to go. And now that now that I moved my taskbar, this thing is all like screwed up. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is gonna import our avatar that we just saved there. I don't think I already have her in here, so let's see here. Yeah, just going to Fantasy VRM tutorial. Nope, tutorial. VRChat Maya for edit. Now I always do this here where I click on extract texture images into folder when I'm using the VRM add-on. That just makes it easier to be able to adjust our textures and stuff. So we're going to import her in here. Now we can see her whole body and all that here. Now one thing we'll say is, another thing too, is when you convert it to VRM from Unity, you do end up losing the spring bones. So we're also going to want to add spring bones as well in here. So we'll cover how to do spring bones and whatnot too, so we get some nice little physics going. And you can also, double check here, just validate it. It says no error, ready for export, good. But as you can see here, our spring bones are empty, and our blend shapes are empty. So we want to be able to add those so that way we can, use it in different tools. But we already have Mtoon selected. That's why we did the Mtoon thing in Unity, because it was just a lot easier to just add Mtoon directly in Unity, and you don't have to do any additional setup in Blender for it. So before we change the outfit, let's convert this model as it is, how we need it. So first thing we want to do is I'm actually going to hide the bones. So let's go ahead and hide the bones. We'll hide the extras for now as well. So this is all we're going to have, okay? Now we want to click on the face here. And in our VRM window right here, we're going to go to Blend Shape Proxy. There is several we're going to need to add first. Okay, so the first ones we're going to need to add is going to be neutral, A, I, U, E, O. And then we are going to need blink. You don't actually need joy, angry, sorrow, or fun. And also the look up and down are optional as well. But we need, at minimum, we need neutral. We need E, U, E, and O. And then I usually do blink as well. And we're going to want to do too is over here on the far right side, click this little triangle option that says Object Data Properties. That's going to show us here all of these different blend shapes that are available to us. So we're going to make use of these for setting up our blend shapes for use in VTubing programs. So this one here, for example, would be A. We have E, and so forth, right? VRChat actually has a ton of different like visms. I don't know how it's pronounced, but they have like a ton of pronunciations that are supported in VRChat. Not every VTubing app is going to support all those, and that is why we have to do the default 7 ones. So first, we have our neutral face. Our neutral face can actually be left completely blank. You don't actually need to apply anything to the neutral face. But we do want to, come here. We're going to name this one A. You're going to click on binds. So we're going to click binds. Go to mesh, and you want to select body for the mesh. And the reason for that is a lot of VRChat models, they name the face body, and then they name the actual body all. Sometimes it'll be named face, but that is just something to keep in mind. Is a lot of time you'll find that the face is named body, and the rest of the body is body_all, or some sort of variant of that. It's just a thing with VRChat models that I've noticed. So after you select body for the mesh, you're going to select our shape key, and we're going to just use the VRC.V_AA, and that will now bind that that blend shape to this proxy for use in VC Face and others. Same thing, we're going to do this here for E or I, depending on the pronunciation that you're using. Go ahead and do the same thing, and go to body, and we're going to find the one that matches that. And sometimes you might have to use like the Japanese ones, right? Like this is going to be E right here, for example. So these ones here are specific to VRChat, and these are going to be those base ones. So this is E right here. Oops, sorry. And you can just see what that looks like if I scroll down and I click on that one. Oh, I don't think those aren't working right now. I apologize, because I'm now using 2 computers for my streaming setup. Not everything's working on the second computer yet. So I do apologize for that. I'll refund any points that are redeemed during the stream. So this is what that one's going to look like when we have I or E. Okay, next one's going to be U or U, depending on your pronunciation. Don't worry, it's okay. All right. So you're just gonna set these up, and let's see here. Like I said, sometimes here we go. So here's gonna be that one. It's gonna be VRC.V_OU. And then also make sure we're naming it. I don't think it has to actually be named, but I always name it just for redundancy's sake. I feel like it just works best if you just name stuff that way it needs to be named. Okay, so let's select our next one here real quick. All the binds, yes. And it gets even worse when you get around to adding physics. When you do spring bones and colliders, it is super annoying with how redundant it gets and how often you're going to be copying and pasting the same few things over and over and over again. Super annoying, but it's worth it in the end. I don't know if y'all saw the you should have seen the other model I have with all the spring bones. My model I was testing for Mikoverse last night has 242 spring bones for just the hair. It is very crazy how much I put into that. Okay, now we need our blink. So this is going to just be both eyes blinking. You can also do, the realistic hair one. Yeah, that one has 242 bones for the hair. I have actually done particle hair in Blender itself, but the problem is particles, even if you convert them to mesh, they don't load in any VTubing app. I tried. I was trying to use particle hair to do a bunny tail for a video, and while I can convert it to a mesh in Blender, when I export it to VRM, it still just doesn't render at all. And it was annoying the crap out of me. So either I'm doing something wrong with converting particles to meshes, or I don't know. and yes, welcome. Okay, so same thing. It's gonna go to body, and we're just gonna go to blinking here and just select that. So that's gonna be like the main ones we need. Again, if you're gonna be doing like the VRChat stuff, we're gonna want to also have like blinks for left and right eyes individually. And I'm not really the best when it comes to Japanese, so but we do have here, you know, different blinks that we can do for blink left, blink right. So we'll probably end up doing those as well. Let's just go ahead and add those just for you know, make sure we have them. It's good form to make sure we have everything we need first. And also the look up, down, left, and right, those are optional in my experience with VRM. They're not actually needed. You can use bones, or you can use blend shapes for looking up, down, left, right. I believe Mikoverse, since it uses VRChat, is dependent on the blend shapes for making your eyes move. Instead of bones. I'm still not really fully sure what all works for Mikoverse and what doesn't yet, because Mikoverse is still very much bleeding edge. And yeah, but Mikoverse has been absolutely amazing in what it does already. So it's always, every time I load up Mikoverse with a new model to test something, I'm always amazed at what really works and what it can do. Okay, so all of our blend shape proxies are now set. So the reason why I set these is these are going to be used for Warudo, VC Face, VNeon, and so forth. Those all use the blend shape proxies instead of the blend shapes directly, unless you specifically tell those apps to use like certain blend shapes. And the only ones I know of that can do that would be VNeon and Warudo, where you can you know, set your own custom node graphs, whereas VC Face will only use these proxies here. So those are all set now. So now we have our face more or less working, but we also want our face to work in Mikoverse. So what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to select vrc.v_aa, and we're going to make that 1.0. And we're going to go over here to this little arrow, click on that, do new shape from mix. That's going to create a completely new blend shape. We're going to call that jaw open. So lowercase j, capital O. We're going to want to name that jaw open. Make sure you go all the way back up to the top and just set this back to 0. But now we have this here. We have jaw open, and that's going to open and close our mouth when we're talking in Mikoverse. Another thing you can do too is, you know, you have all the other ones you're going to need. And I actually have a whole list of them right here. This is the whole list of all the VRChat blend shapes. There is a ton of them. So keep in mind that there is just a lot of these VRChat blend shapes, and you don't need all of them. But this here is a good reference to have for how they all work, so that way you can, you know, copy and paste the names easily. So I use this reference here to help a lot, and if I don't remember one, for example, I'm trying to remember what blinking is labeled here, I should be able to just scroll down and find where the blinking is somewhere around here. It's probably up here at the top. It's going to be like brow inner or something. Or eye squint. Oh, here it is. Eye blink left, eye blink right. So let's go ahead and add those as well. So we're going to scroll up. And let's find our blinking again. So up here at the very top, we're going to find our blinking. It should be this one here for left. So go ahead and make that one 100%. Do the same thing, new shape from mix. We're going to label that eye blink left. And then scroll all the way back up. And make sure we set that back to 0. and then set the other one here, new shape from mix, and that was going to be eye blink right. So that way, at least our blinking is going to work, and our mouth's going to open and close in Mikoverse. And just don't forget to set that there. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part, the physics. Physics is a little bit of an annoyance to do, and it can be very, very time consuming to do physics. So we're not going to do like 100% physics for everything, but we will do quite a bit of the physics here. So let's go ahead and bring our bones back into view. Depending on how you have Blender set up, your bones will look something like this, where they will be, your bones will have these like polygonal shapes, these like pyramid shapes. That's kind of like the default that you usually see. I actually prefer to set these to be sticks. But you can do it however you want. I prefer having Blender render them as sticks. It just is a lot easier for me to not only see the bone, but to also see like where that bone is at, in terms of like the pivot points and stuff. It really just depends on your personal preference. Some people prefer this. You have sticks, you have bounding boxes, which obviously isn't going to work here. You have envelopes, which gives you these little capsules that shows you basically where these are all going to be covering. And then you have wires as well, but wires I feel is too thin, so it's not really useful. So I usually go to stick. And another thing you do too is you can turn on names here, so that way if you turn on names, it's just a lot easier to tell, like, okay, these are going to be the breastbones, for example, right? Because there's a breast L underscore end, and so that is just something that can help a lot when you're trying to do the physics, to kind of see, okay, this is like where the hair is going to be at. Another thing too is using bone layers. So I'm going to actually put a lot of this stuff into bone layers real quick. Bone layers is very helpful visually. So I'll show what that does here in a second. So I'm going to come over here to the top. I'm going to go to edit mode, and I'm going to select like this twin tail, for example, okay? I'm going to select the twin tail. I'm going to hit Control L. It's going to select the whole thing. And then I'm going to hit M, and I'm going to choose the second layer here. Now you'll notice that it now hides that hair. It hides all those bones. And if I come over here on the right, and I click on that layer now, it'll show me only those bones that are in that group. So I like to do this when I'm doing really heavy like conversions and stuff, is I just select my different bones, hit Control L to link all of them together onto their own layers, so that way I can more easily see what I'm working with when I'm doing stuff. And this is something that only works in Blender. It's not going to affect your export at all. So when you go to export it, they're all still going to be one continuous skeleton. It's just a lot easier to see what you're doing if you put it into layers when you're doing like editing work and stuff. So same thing, just select some of these hairs. I'm going to hit Control L with all these I'm selecting. And all I'm going to do right now is I'm selecting the bones for the hair. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit M, put that all onto the second layer there. And that should be it for just the hair itself, I believe. We can kind of see in here, yeah, these are like the eye bones in there. So again, it's really helpful doing that because you can separate these out to whatever you need for them. For example, we have the tail down here, right? So we might select all these, and we'll put the tail on layer 3. Oh, that didn't quite work because I hit the wrong button. So I'm gonna hit M, put the tail on layer 3, and now if I click on layer 3, it's only going to show the tail here. So again, it's just really helpful to separate your layer or your bones into layers when you're doing all this physics stuff, especially because not every bone is going to get physics, right? Like we're not going to apply physics to the main body here, because the body itself doesn't need physics. It needs colliders, but it doesn't need physics. So we can do the whole thing where we just select the whole body here, and just hit Control L. And I kind of wish it would have selected a lot more than that. But you know, we'll have it do what we need it to do. Select down here, select our hips, for example. And that's already got our feet selected. And we can just put these on this bottom layer down here. So that way we know, okay, the body itself isn't going to get those, isn't going to get physics, so we don't need to worry about that there. Tail C, this one should be on this one here. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, separating it out like that just makes it so much easier to see what we're actually working with here. Same thing with these breasts. We're going to put these breasts on their own layer as well, because we will be applying physics to these. And then, like I said, it just makes it so much easier just to see, you know, where it is that we're working with here. Now, just for sake of time, I'm not going to do physics on the bows. While I normally would do physics on the bows for my own like personal stuff, I'm just not going to do physics on the bows right now, just because it's a lot of stuff to do. But we will do the hair, we will do the tail. I don't think we'll get around to doing these ear wiggles. I mean, we can add ear wiggles too, but I just don't think we're going to do that right now, because I don't want to bore you guys by doing too much. Oh, and the skirts. We will for sure add physics to the skirts. So let's go ahead and select our skirts, skirt bones real quick. And those can go over here on like 5. There we go. And is that a skirt bone? It says skirt. Let's go ahead and go into pose mode real quick and just double check what this one is actually rotating. Okay, so that is rotating the skirt itself. So select that one, and that's going to go onto number 5 right there. Okay. And these, I'm actually not sure what these are affecting. And you can always use pose mode to kind of like figure out like what are stuff affecting. So yeah, I don't really see those affecting too much right now. So everything that's remaining is, again, not going to get physics right now, so we're not going to worry about those. But let's start off. We'll start off with the breastbones, because those are kind of the easiest to do. So what we're going to do is going to come up here to the VRM spring bone tab, click Add Spring Bone. I do both boobs individually, but if you're using VWide, for example, they will come together. So I'm going to label this one breast underscore L. And it does take a little bit of like tinkering to get the settings right. I'm going to go to 0.4 for stiffness. I'm going to go to 0.05 for the drag force. Gravity power is optional. I would use the gravity power if you want them to have a kind of realistic sag, but not everyone wants their boobs to be sagging, so you don't need to really worry about that. I still always set a gravity direction of -1 on the z-axis. And you want to select a center bone. Now, the center bone is not required in Unity, but it is required from what I've noticed in Mikoverse. So what we're going to do is select our center bone. We're going to type in chest, and that's going to make the center bone the chest. And basically, the way spring bones work is if you don't have a center bone selected at all, then any movement on the model will cause those spring bones to move. If you select a center bone, then that bone has to move first in order for the spring bones to activate and move. So for example, we're setting here our center bone to the chest. That means if we move our legs, it's not going to make our boobs flop around. Whereas if we had no center bone, then moving our legs would also make the boobs flop around. So that is kind of something to keep in mind how it works. And it's not the like hardest to get the grasp of, but when you're first like starting out, it's like, what does that center bone mean? And all that means is just that bone has to move first in order for the spring bones to turn on. We're now going to go to bones. We're going to add here our bones, and we're going to add both. We have breast underscore L and breast underscore L end. You technically don't need to add both, but I usually do. And we can add colliders. We will get around to adding colliders later, but right now, if you're going to be using this for Mikoverse, the colliders don't work at all, whereas in Warudo, for example, colliders are working just fine. So a little trick here with Blender is if you have all these values and you want to copy them over to like another spot, you don't even have to like click on them to copy them. So just highlight your mouse over and hit Control C to copy. And we're going to come down here. We're going to label this breast underscore R and just Control V. You don't have to actually click on it. You can just move your mouse over it. And then when you hit Control C, Blender is smart enough to know that, hey, something's highlighted and you want to copy that value. So it makes it a lot faster to do some of the stuff. And then just going to make sure we add both our bones here. So, and make sure you're selecting the correct side. So that's going to be R, and make sure we have R underscore end as well. So that is our first physics added. Now let's go on to our tail. Now for tails, again, something to note is that you don't need to add every single bone to the spring bone group. However, I have found that tails just look a lot better if a single bone in the tail into the spring bone group. And it's more of a personal preference, I guess, but it's what I found looks best. So we're gonna go here to tail, and we're gonna label it tail, and we're gonna need to figure out our stiffness and stuff. I actually feel like for tails, I do a drag force of like 1, and I'll do a stiffness of like 3. It's kind of hard to explain how the stiffness and drag force works, but basically the drag force is like the air resistance, and so the more drag you have, those bones will kind of lag behind. The less drag, the faster those bones move. So if you want your bones to be kind of like smooth flowing, the higher value is better. Whereas if you want those bones to be flopping about wildly, you want to have a very low drag force. The stiffness is also like how much they retain their shape. So, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory for stiffness, I guess, but basically it's like the default, like this is how rigid that like group should be. And then gravity power obviously is, you know, how the gravity affects stuff. For this one, we're just going to do 0.1. And again, we're going to do -1 for our gravity. So it's going to pull the tail down. And we might also just, you know, come in here and add a little bit here. So we'll do like -15 on the y-axis. Actually, hold on. Y-axis, negative goes forward, right? I think, yeah, negative goes forward. Let's see here. I'm always like trying to remember which is positive, which is negative. I believe negative moves it forward, so we actually don't want that to be moving forward. So we actually want this to be positive then. We'll do like positive 15 and -1 as best as we can get there, at least. 0.15 and whatever, we'll just leave that as it is. But that way our tail goes down and then to the back a bit, right? And then the hit radius for the tail, I feel like the hit radius for tail 0.05 is actually maybe a little bit more. And keep in mind, this is done in terms of meters, okay? So 0.5, for example, will be 5 centimeters hit radius. So that's about 2 inches. We could do 0.1, which would be 10 centimeters of like a little hitbox there. And then we can add our bones. So we have here, it looks like we have, I believe, 12 bones for the tail. So we can add a bunch of those. And you just type in tail. And also you're going to keep in mind too, what bones in the tail actually need to move. For example, we don't need this root bone to move at all. That one doesn't need to move. This one here, tail 1, maybe we need it to move, maybe not. Given the current outfit, I don't think it's totally necessary. Tail 3, however, that's where we're going to want our movement to start for sure, right? So tail 3 is going to need to move. I think we'll start actually with tail 2. But we're going to leave tail 1 and tail empty. So I'm going to do tail 2. And then I'm going to copy and paste that all the way down, down here. And we're going to go to tail 3 now. And then tail 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then they did like as a leading 0 for whatever reason. So you might need to scroll up a little bit just to kind of find that. Here it is, 0, 1. And oh, actually this should be tail 0, 1. And then this one would be 0, 11. And then you don't really need to add the end because this bone here is actually not attached to anything. This is mostly just kind of something we do for certain things like in Blender and stuff. It's not actually attached to anything, so you don't fully really need to add that one. But these are all the bones that are going to be in that chain to create our tail physics. And also we want to do hair. So hair can be a little bit more of a challenge to get right, but we're gonna do our best for it. And then also our skirt. We want our skirt to be all flowy, right? And you'll notice here there is like 4 different sections of skirt bones. So for example, this one's gonna govern that side. This one here is going to be this part and so forth. So we have these 4 groups here. So we're going to do 4 different spring bone groups. So just do 4. And we'll label this skirt underscore R1. This one will be skirt underscore R2, skirt underscore R3, skirt underscore R. All right, actually, wait, I'm dumb. That should be L. That should be L1 and L2. There we go. And it'll probably take us a few tries to get the physics right on the skirts. Yeah, it'll probably take a few tries. But we'll do our best and see what we can do with it. So skirt R1. And again, we have to kind of determine here, what bones do we need to move really. Because we can have it really flowy down here. Or we can have the entire... Kind of for this, I don't want it to be flopping all around up top. So I think we're only going to use these lower bones here. So it's just going to be one. So let's go ahead and set this here. We'll first set this to skirt. Actually, this should be hips. We'll set this to hips because the hips bone is more likely going to be the one that's going to be moving and controlling everything. And I just realized too, we forgot to set a center bone at the tail. So same thing, we're gonna set our tail center bone to hips. Okay. Now we're gonna do gonna be a larger hit radius for these. So we're just gonna do like 0.2, which is gonna be about 20 centimeters. That should be sufficient of like a hit radius for the skirt. Stiffness, again, I don't want it to be like super flowy, but you'll notice here the stiffness slider goes from 1 to 4. So I don't want it to be like extremely rigid, but I also don't want it to be flopping about. So we'll just go somewhere in the middle. We'll go to just 2.0 for now. Drag force too, again, we don't want it to be like super draggy, or I mean super floppy, but we also don't want it to be extremely slow. So I think we're going to start here. We're going to start with 0.4 for our drag force. And then we'll do -1 for our gravity here. And we'll do 0.1 for gravity power. Gravity power is kind of interesting in how it works. It's kind of more like a multiplier, I guess, and how it works. But I try to keep to low values, so we'll do like 0.1, for example. Unless I absolutely need something to be like, no, this is going straight down into the ground. Keep the gravity power low. Just that way there is like a hint of gravity, but it's not like over the top gravity, if that makes sense. And then we're gonna go to add bone, and it's gonna be skirt. This is actually R2, I believe. So this is, no, just R. Okay. Yeah, skirt _ R 04. You just want to make sure we're naming that, matching that name right there. Okay, so now for the next one, this is skirt R 003. And so, luckily again, same thing here. Pretty easy to just copy and paste all these values to make it a lot easier. And we're gonna hope it looks good, hopefully. It should. I've played around with spring bones more than enough at this point that I think I have a pretty good grasp on how they interact. So let's do this now. Skirt _ R, and this is 003. And now let's do the left hand side. We're going to use the same settings for the left side as well. And let's do what we did here, where we kind of start on this side for that. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste all these. And again, I'll just be glad we're not getting into the realm of doing colliders right now. Colliders adds a whole lot more to the physics setup as well. But like I said, Mikoverse does not have collider support at the moment, which has me upset because I wanted to be able to make use of the colliders. So there's a skirt L 004. Okay, we can go ahead and close that one out now. And just copy and paste all those values again. Okay, and then make sure our hit radius is the same. We want it to be on the hips for the center bone. And then this is L003. There we go. So that should be it for our skirt physics. Again, we're only going to be affecting the lower portion of the skirt, so the top part of the skirt's not going to move doing this. But I just didn't want to have it be like, you know, too... So it's kind of hard to find a balance sometimes. You need to find like a balance between how much movement do you need for stuff. Because not everything needs to be moving around. You don't need to be super excessive. Like I said with the realistic hair model, for example, 242 bones, all with spring bone settings, was way over the top, and not everything needs to be like that. Okay, so now we just have one more group here, which is our hair itself. Now for the hair, I actually kind of like doing these sort of in groups. So, we'll probably do, this will be group 1. Group 1 will be both of these sets here. And then group 2 will be both of these sets here. And again, this is just kind of just like a way of optimizing more than anything for performance. Because while I myself may have a 4090 and so forth, not everyone will. And I really don't know how, at least in Mikoverse, how much performance impact spring bones have. So I kind of try to keep them, you know, to a minimum if I can. So what we're going to do is let's grab these 3 patches of bone here. So we have, we're going to label this. First off, we'll label this bangs. Okay. And then we'll label, oh, I just removed on accident. I'm gonna label this bangs. Add another one. We're gonna label this side underscore L. We'll do side underscore R. I think I misspelled side. There we go, underscore R. And then we'll do here it is, twin tail underscore L, and then twin tail underscore R. So there's going to be the groups we're going to work with for doing the hair physics. So again, we're not going to be doing ear wiggles for this one because we're going to leave the hat on. We could add some physics to the hat as well, so maybe we'll do that as well. We'll just add some simple physics to the hat, so where the hat kind of like bounces around a little bit. But I'm trying to, you know, kind of keep it concise and easy, and try to keep the performance down, our performance cost down. So let's start with our bangs here. So first thing, let's do, we're going to make our center bone head. So when it comes to our hair, center bone is just going to be head across the board, because we want it to be whenever we move our head around, that's when our spring bones activate for our hair. We're going to add 3 bones here. And we're just going to keep it simple for the hair. Doesn't need to be as like as complex as the tail was, for example. But we're going to go here and let's see what our bones are named more directly. So this is F underscore hair. This is F underscore hair underscore L and F underscore hair underscore R. So F underscore hair is our first one. F underscore hair L001 is this one right here. And then F underscore R001 is that last one. So there we go. And that's just going to carry it all the way down here. Now, stiffness, again, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. So I'm hoping we nail this on the first go. Hoping we nail it on the first go. We're not going to apply any gravity to it, because I don't think we need gravity for the hair right now. But just out of good practice, I always do -1 on Z. Hit rate is going to be 0.05. And then we'll do a drag force of 0. We'll do drag force of, well, for our bangs. How floppy should the bangs be? We'll do 0.2 for the bangs for now. We'll give that a try. And we'll do 1 for the stiffness. And we're going to copy that also for the side as well, I think. Because I don't really want them to be moving too much. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that for the side as well. And if we need to adjust our settings, we can adjust them as we go about doing all this. And clearly, once we get into Mikoverse as well, we'll do some testing. Okay, and then bones. I'll make sure we know what bones we're using. So we have here This is S2 hair R, and then this is S2 hair R. So these are both, or no, this one here is S underscore hair. This one's S2 underscore hair. So just keep that in mind, what they're called. S underscore hair underscore R, and then it's going to be 1. And then S underscore hair underscore R, or actually be S2 underscore hair. And just select that first one. Since we did it out of order, we'll just label that side R up there at the top, and then we'll change this one to side L. And it's going to be the same settings. Again, it'll be trial and error for it, but I'm confident that this will look more or less decent, I hope. I kind of wish that Blender had spring bone physics built in. There are some good plugins for Blender that get very close to the effect of how spring bones work, but it's not one-to-one translation. And so while they are great if you're just doing like a pre-render, like just rendering out a video in Blender, I recommend looking into like Wiggle Bones or Wiggle Bones 2, or Gravity Bone Collider, I think was another good one that I was looking at and have tested. There's a few different options for adding physics to bones in Blender in terms of plugins, which are absolutely amazing if you're just doing a video in Blender using the keyframes and stuff, but they don't translate one-to-one for how those physics work in Unreal and Unity. So unfortunately, I'm just not going to be showing how to use those right now. But maybe in another stream or video, we can actually do a full animation here in Blender, because animation is actually more of my strong suit. Okay, let's go ahead and add these. It's going to be S underscore hair underscore L, and then S2 underscore hair underscore L. There we go. And I believe that's all the same settings there. Yes, it is. Okay, so now though we do get to have the fun of doing the twin tails. The twin tails clearly are super long, and also this also is going to bring me to another point here. So the twin tails are really long, right? But let's say we don't want long twin tails. Because this is a VRChat model, it actually already has blend shapes here for adjusting the size of certain parts. Now, if you're using the model in Unity, this is not problematic at all. If you're using the model in Unity, you can simply set small to make our twin tails a lot smaller, and it'll work perfectly fine in Unity. However, if you are using Mikoverse right now, if you were to make these twin tails smaller, you'll end up with the hair becoming super jaggedy, and I think that is just strictly a Mikoverse issue or an Unreal issue, but it's perfectly fine in Unity. But in Mikoverse, if I make the hair small like this, it will completely bork the hair and turn it into a jagged mess. So that's something to keep in mind. It doesn't really matter for everything. For some things, you can probably get away with it, like maybe making the bangs cut, for example. If you make the bangs cut, it's not going to be a huge deal. If you do side sweat bangs, I found that does make it jagged in Mikoverse. So that is just something also to keep in mind. Is some of these models, they will have sliders for different body shapes and stuff, and you might find that right now, at least, if you alter those body shapes, they can become really jaggedy in Mikoverse. So let's see here. Let's start off with we had what, twin tail L. So yeah, this is a twin tail L. I'm gonna select this, and we need to decide, like I said, we need to decide where do we actually want the physics to start. We don't need the physics to start up here at the very top. So really, our physics for it can start here with tail 5 and not with tail 1. Yeah, we'll start our physics here with tail 5. So let's go ahead, center bone, make the center bone head. And then we're going to add twin tail L5 instead of L1. And then our hit radius, we can do 0.1 because the hair is kind of thick. Especially as it gets lower, the hair is going to get thicker. So I think 0.1 should be good enough. And let's see here. We're going to do -1, and then we'll do, like, again, +15. I think will work fine. Kind of keep our hair, kind of flowing behind us. Drag force and stiffness. Now, again, you don't want the hair to be, like, super bouncy everywhere. So I actually think here we can do a drag force of 1. And then I'm going to do a stiffness of 2. I think that's what we did for the other hair. So we'll try these settings. We'll see how it looks. Hopefully it looks decent. And also set a gravity power of 0.1 because we don't need to be super affected by gravity. It just needs to have a little bit of gravity for it. And we'll copy and paste these here. And then we should be ready to throw this into Mikoverse here in a second. So we'll go ahead and set that up. And this is twin tail. It's going to be R. Actually, what is the bone particularly? Bone R005. Okay. Twin tail underscore R 005. There we go. Okay, so this should be good here for this. Let's go ahead and save our blend file because I realize we haven't saved it all yet. But we're gonna save this as Maya for edit dot Miko verse for now. Okay, so that's not going to be saved. Now, another thing too is we can apply some of the new Mikoverse shaders to this model as well. So we can go ahead and do that real quick. So we have here, if we click on our skin, for example, let's go down to our VRM settings, go down to the very bottom, and you're going to see this little checkbox here. It says Show Mtune 0.0 options. So I'm going to click on that. Go to Rim Lighting Mix, and we're going to do 0.1. This is going to tell Mikoverse that that is skin. Okay. So make sure we have that selected. Same thing here on the body, and then or on the face. Scroll down, and then we're just going to tell Mikoverse that this is skin. So that way it knows, okay, that's what skin is supposed to look like. For our hair, you can scroll down on the hair, and you can go over there to that setting, and it's going to be 0.5 for hair. So that's going to tell Mikoverse, okay, this is hair now. And same for our tail and stuff. That should already be set. It's all using the same material for that. So there we go. Now Mikoverse is going to know, okay, that's skin, that's hair. Good, good to know for us to have that. So let's go ahead and export this now. So if we go to export, go to VRM, and we have here Maya for Miko, or for edit Mikoverse.vrm, and we're just going to label this .1. That way we know, okay, this is version 1. And it's just because Mikoverse, you tend to have to trial and error a bunch of stuff, and it doesn't really work in a good way where you can easily replace the model in Mikoverse. I found that it keeps the model in memory. So because it keeps the model in memory, if you simply replace the file and then load it again, no changes show up in Mikoverse unless you completely restart Mikoverse. not an issue at all with Warudo or VC Face or others. So it's just something to keep in mind too. You might have a bunch of iterations of a model. But let's make sure our stuff is working. While Mikoverse is loading up, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to tutorial. I'm going to go to webcam live link, and we're just going to turn on webcam live link as well. So that way we have our tracking working in Mikoverse and just kind of verify that that's working. We'll probably have to do like blend shapes for the eyes to get those to work in Mikoverse. Because again, I don't think bones are working for the eye tracking. But we'll go over all of this here for how we are doing this conversion. Okay, so Mikoverse should be opening now. There we go. Here is Mikoverse. Go ahead and just drag that over into the corner right here so that y'all can see that window. We have Mikoverse here. I'm just going to log in real quick. I'm going to turn off my little bitty stuff. And let's go do, we're going to do a empty session, okay? So we'll go to our meeting table. Here's our Mikoverse thing. Let's create an offline session here. We're going to go to import avatar. And I'm going to do realistic high poly. So we have our toon shading, obviously, but realistic high poly is how you make use of those new like shaders. So we can choose file, and we can go to our tutorial folder, go to VRChat, and select Maya Mikoverse 1. That's going to load us in. And voila, now we are here. So as you can see here, so our hair physics for the side of the hair is still a little floppy, a little floppier than I would prefer, but it's pretty easy to tweak that. The bangs look good to me. I like how the bangs came out. It's just the side hair is a little too floppy, but not too hard to fix that. We have our twin tails, you know, flopping about as they should. Looks like our boobs are flopping as well, so we got our boob physics going. And let's see here, tail wise, and the tail is also moving. It's actually probably a little bit easier to see the tail movement if we select a different like animation set. So we go to like toon, for example. And now you can see here our tail is moving. I think I made the tail actually a little bit too stiff, so I might adjust that to be not as stiff for the tail. But you can see here though, our physics does seem to be working. Our skirt physics is working as well. So overall, I'd say that this was quite a success in converting our model over to Mikoverse and setting it up for having the spring bone physics as well. And like I said, we do have our face tracking somewhat. I probably need to like adjust some of the settings. Can you stop moving around? Hold on. Default feminine. Default feminine. There we go. So we might need to, you know, adjust some of our settings. Now under avatar settings, we can adjust, for example, you know, our rotation scale and stuff. I believe it's going to be down here under face calibration, advanced. We have AR kit, and yeah, we're gonna need to use blend shapes for our eyes, looks like, but we can adjust this. So for example, we'll bring this down here, and oh, actually I think that's not making it less. Bring that back up. Should we probably here? There we go. Yeah, so now we have that eye there. So let's actually just bring this down to like I don't know, 0.5 for for that eye there. And that should be for both eyes, yeah. Actually, no, now it's too sensitive. But, you know, we can play around with our settings here. And, you know, go from slider. There we go. That looks a little bit better for our eyes now. Also, we need to find and just you know, our eyes. So you know, for jaw open, we can drag the scale all the way up, and there we go. Now our mouth is opening the way it's supposed to open. So this model doesn't have rings on it yet. My old model had rings. This one doesn't. I had mecha rings and I had like demonic rings, depending on the time of the year. I really need to add all the rest of my toggles to my newest design, my primary design at least. There's just so much toggles to add to the model. So there we go. Now we have our VRChat model converted over to Mikoverse. Now, one thing, like I was saying, because we had you know, set those flags, we now have the subsurface scattering with our body, with our skin. And so basically what subsurface scattering is if light is coming in from like the backside, it'll kind of illuminate through the skin. You can kind of see this in real life too. If you like, if you hold like a flashlight up to your hand, you'll see your hand turn kind of orange or red, depending on if you're colorblind or not. Because I'm colorblind. But you'll see the light shine through your skin. And that's basically what the subsurface scattering is doing, is it's making that light shine through the skin. And then also with the hair shader, Mikoverse also does that with the hair as well. And you can kind of see there where the hair is getting lit up, and you can see it, you know, lighting through the hair. So that is why we had set those flags there, so that way we could enable those. Now I have noticed that when you apply the skin flag in to your model, it does make the skin brighter. So that is also something to keep in mind, is the skin ends up brighter when you do it that way. I'm not really sure how to fix that other than just making an alternate texture that is darker. But that is one of the cool new features of Mikoverse, is being able to set those. And we can also do like PVR textures and stuff. So maybe we'll go over how the PVR textures work in a second here. But we can also check to see what our model looks like with the toon shading. So let's go ahead and load our model again. And this is how we look now with the toon shading. You see here, our skin now is a lot more peach. It's a lot more tannish peach, more saturated, I would say, for the skin. Our settings for the AR kit did reset, so we are going to have to adjust our settings again. But now we don't get that subsurface scattering. So now if we have here the light behind us, for example, it's not going to be doing that subsurface scattering effect anymore for the hair or for the body. And then also we have like the flat shading as well. And the flat shading is going to be the closest to what it looks like in Blender. But then we don't get any shadows, period, I think, with the flat shading. So I'm hoping we do get a little bit more control over, I don't know, how the shading affects our models in the near future, because this is the closest to what it looks like in Blender. It's just that we're not going to get any shadows casted on us for flat shading, which kind of sucks. But overall, again, really solid app that they have going on here. Let's go back to realistic high poly real quick. And actually, let's load up a different model here real quick. I'm gonna go to avatars, and I'm gonna go to fuck, where is it at? Fantasy Raifu, no AR kit 2. I think I had created a whole new folder. Oh, here it is, under baked. So this here is the realistic hair model. One of the iterations, at least. And one thing that you can do with that new hair shader is you can, you know, basically get these really nice looking highlights by using the new system that we have with Mikoverse, by changing some of those flags. It is quite a pain to get hair looking like this, though. Like I said, there's 242 bones in the hair for this one, but it's nice and flowy, looks really good. But it's definitely not a model I would feel like confident in using when it comes to being on like the public server. But this can lead into some of the other features for the materials. For example, you'll notice even though the armor is like really dark, there is a lot of shininess to the armor. And that is something we can cover next, is how do I get that shininess to work. So let's load up. We'll load up the tutorial Raifu here. Oh, wrong button. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to go to open recent, go to fantasyraifu.blend, and we're going to load up this model here. And again, like I said, really excessive for the hair. The hair is just super excessive here. But what we can do is go into render view, and I'm going to hit Alt H here. So we have two copies of, we have a copy of the armor, we have a copy of the hair. Now, I'm going to be using a plugin for Blender, so let me go ahead and show you what that plugin is. I'm going to type it in real quick. Blender Simple Bake plugin. So there is this plugin I have here. It's called Simple Bake, Simple PBR, and Other Baking in Blender. This add-on is a huge help when it comes to baking PBR textures to different maps. Otherwise, sitting there in Photoshop trying to do all the maps in Photoshop by hand, you might be able to get better results by doing that, by making the map manually in Photoshop. But this particular plugin, it's $20, but it does absolute wonders when it comes to baking your textures into maps. So I'm using this plugin here. It's called Simple Bake, Simple PBR, and Other Baking in Blender. And let's go ahead and adjust some of our settings here. For example, I maybe don't want the hair to be this shiny. It's actually a little too shiny right now, and I'm actually going to have to go into Photoshop to kind of fix the shininess of the hair. But let's not focus on the hair right now. Let's focus on our armor. So I'm going to hide the hair in the meantime. So we have our armor here, and let's put a light into the scene. There should already be a light actually in the scene. I don't know why it's not showing up, but there should be a light here. Maybe it's just not bright enough. Oh no, the light is there. Okay, I'm gonna set this light to like 1000 watt. That's still not like bright enough for whatever reason. Okay, well, whatever. Oh, that's why, because it's set to point light. Let's set it to sunlight. Okay, there we go. So we have sunlight here, and we can kind of see, again, this is like super shiny. It's not getting the transparency with this shader here. So there is transparency on that version, but we have this version here. It's not going to have that transparency going on due to how it works. But you can see here we have it all shiny. So let's see, how do we make it shiny? So first off, let's start with a completely new shader. So we're just going to disconnect this, and we're going to go to surface, and we want principled BSDF, and that's kind of like the default Blender shader. If you make a new material, it's going to be principled BSDF. It's going to look kind of like this at first. We're going to go to base color, select image, texture, and then we're going to go to the texture of our outfit. And right now, clearly that light is way too bright, so it's going to bring that light down. Okay, so we have that there, and you want to leave the color space on sRGB, leave alpha where it's at, and now we're going to come down here, and we have there's 3 things that we can bake into a texture for Mikoverse specifically to make things shiny. So if I wanted to, for example, if I wanted to make it shiny over here on Mtoon for Unity specifically, I would come over here and we have our Mtoon settings, and there would be what's called a matte cap. Okay, and this matte cap here is what you'll use to make things shiny. Right now it's kind of empty, but if I load up a matte cap, for example, I'm going to go to my matte cap folder, and we'll just find the one like this one here, this default one, and let's go ahead and get rid of that. And you'll see here that it's now nice and shiny. This is how you add shininess for Unity. For Unity, you're going to be using these matte cap textures, and they do a good job at making something shiny, but they don't hit the same as doing a proper PBR texture. So this will make it shiny in Unity, which is what we'd obviously probably be using Unity more, but we have like different ones here, and you can kind of see how that affects how that looks. Okay, just gonna make it like ultra shiny, and there's different ones. The way that matte caps work is they work based on like the direction of the camera itself, and the texture can have different data in the texture to tell it, okay, this needs to be smooth, this needs to be rough. That's all like baked into the texture itself, based on like the different channels. But essentially you can have any like number of material types or materials. You can do like jelly armor and stuff. Yeah. This is how I do my slime characters. Actually, I have done a few slime models, and I use the matte caps for the slimes, just because it works very, very well for slimes to have different like matte caps. But it's not, like I said, it's not actually based on the lighting. It's based on the direction of the camera. So while this might be really good for Unity, and for just using something like VC Face or Warudo, you can get away with it pretty easily and get the effect you want. But in Mikoverse, we want to have actual proper shininess, and the matte cap texture doesn't work actually in Mikoverse. So to do it, there's 3 different things that Mikoverse works with, and that is going to be ambient occlusion, which is like shadows, for example, and then you're going to have metallic and roughness. So what metallic does is metallic tells Blender this object is a metal. Now, even though there is a slider from 0 to 1, only 2 values actually matter with this slider, and that's going to be 0 means it's non-metallic, and 1 means it is metallic. You'll see here too though that when you make it texture quite a bit, and that's why in Mikoverse the texture was coming up as being very what's it called, very dark, right? And then if you have it non-metallic, and then it's not going to be a metal. It'll just be non-metal. But then we have here roughness. Now roughness, if you put it to value of 1, that's going to make it into a matte color. So it's not going to really have any sort of like shininess at all. And if you bring roughness down to 0, that makes it basically as shiny as glass. You can see here it's got these nice hard surfaces now for that shine. You might want to play around with it a little bit. I kind of feel like for metal, for armor, I feel like 0.15 is good for the armor. And right now there's no normal maps. Let's go ahead and add a normal map to this so we can kind of preview it a little bit better. So we're going to go down here to normal and click normal map. And I already have a normal map for this, so I'm just going to go to color and go to image texture. And I already have a normal map here. And now you can see a little bit better where it's now going to, you know, get the shininess in between stuff. It's going to have the shininess kind of bouncing off of the different parts now. So this is, you know, kind of like the best preview for how it's going to look in Mikoverse, doing it this way. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to use that plugin. So I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to drag our window out, drag it out twice. So we now have 2 different things here, and my head is definitely in the way. So actually give me a second to do it this way. Let's close this area here. Close this area, and we'll drag it on this side. That way my head is not in the way for you guys. So we're going to drag it out. We're going to set this top viewport to image editor. And then we're going to set this bottom viewport to properties. And we're going to go over here to the render properties. Yeah, you want it to be just this first one here, render properties. And you're going to scroll down. You'll see where it says Simple Bake. Now, there is a new version of the Simple Bake plugin. I was having issues with the newer version earlier. So I'm using an older version of it that just works for me. And what we're going to do is let's clear this all out, okay? So we're going to clear that out. Now, we're going to select our object here. I'm going to click on Add. And it's going to add that object now. Down here, we're going to scroll down a little bit. It's going to say PVR Bakes. Here you have different options that you can do. So you can do metalness. We do want to select metalness. We could do roughness or glossy. Depends on which engine you're using. But we're going to be using roughness. And then there's others, for example, there's bump maps, there's alpha maps, emission maps. If you have stuff that is going to be really bright, you can do an emission map for that, and so forth. Diffuse is going to be the diffuse or albedo texture. It's going to be just your color, your actual texture itself. That would be useful if you're doing a completely... if you're doing a texture completely out of the nodes, because you can actually come down here, you can go to shader editor, and you can build a texture entirely out of the nodes. And if you want to do it that way, you would tell it to save the diffuse map. We're going to want to scroll down a little bit more. Now I have curvature selected. We don't need light map. We also have thickness and ambient occlusion. So we want to have curvature, ambient occlusion, and thickness selected. Scroll down a bit further. We're going to have our texture settings here. Now I like to tell it transparent background. You can also do multiple objects into one single texture as well. So if you say you want to do the hair and the body together, you can do them as one single texture. But because we already have this all modeled, we don't need it to be doing that. And then I have it set to just clear existing bake, so that way it deletes the original files first, so you don't end up with like a ton of extra files. And then you want to set an export path. I already have this export path set, and I tell it to do a subfolder for every object. So that way I know, okay, this object is these textures. And then under UV settings, I believe this is all just default. You want it to restore the original UV map in most cases. I just want to have the original UV map. You can leave device to CPU. I found it crashing on me last night when I was trying to use GPU, but I also had Unity and other stuff open. Under channel packing here, now normally this is going to be blank, okay? So it's going to be a blank area, but this is where we're going to actually make our texture for Mikoverse. So you can label it whatever. Let's go ahead and label it ORM, okay? So ORM is what we're going to label it. We're going to put the format to PNG. We want the R channel to be either ambient occlusion, thickness, or curvature. You can use either of the three. I don't think I have ambient occlusion enabled on this scene, so we're going to do curvature instead. You're going to put the green channel to roughness. So green channel is going to be roughness. And the blue channel is going to be metalness. And then the alpha channel is going to be none. We can also set the alpha channel to alpha, but you can just leave it as none. And hit add new. That's going to create this little thing here that says ORM now. And if we hit bake, well, first off, before we hit bake, let me open that folder real quick. And I'm going to go to avatars, going to go to baked, and let's delete all of these here real quick. Let's have a completely fresh folder here. So go ahead and first off, I recommend saving. So hit Control S to save, then hit bake, and you'll see here the text model is going to change a bit. Different render passes and maps that it is creating. A moment or two here. There we go. It says bake is complete, 5 images baked. So now if I go back to that folder, we'll see here body.001, and we're gonna have different ones here. So we actually have ambient occlusion. I guess I actually do have ambient occlusion enabled, but we have ambient occlusion, curvature, thickness, roughness, metalness, and then we have ORM here, which is the combined texture for Mikoverse. Since we actually do have ambient occlusion enabled, I'm going to just go down here real quick and we're going to do this again. I was going to change this from curvature to ambient occlusion in, hit update, and then bake again. And we'll just give it a moment to redo. I was doing it. Oh, and we actually just crashed. So, give me a second here. Maybe that's why I wasn't using ambient occlusion last night. I don't remember. It could also be that we have Mikoverse open in the background, which is using a lot of my resources right now. Okay, let's go ahead and load this back up. And let's set this back to the proper window size. There we go. Our window's now, nope. Supposed to be 1080p. There we go, whatever, close enough. So let's go ahead and just open this up again real quick. And yeah, I guess we'll leave that as it is. But I know set one to be image editor, and set one to be properties. Go over here to our render settings. And yeah, so I guess we'll just leave it as curvature for now. That should be fine. It's not going to make like a huge deal, to be honest. But we can now what we need to do is take this texture here, or take this object. We're going to hide the object, okay? So just going to click on it, hit H to hide it. Click on our armor here. Go to our settings. Make sure we have our top selected. And there is this slot here that says rim color. Okay, so it's gonna be this rim color slot. This is important because this slot works differently in Unity than it does in Unreal Engine for Mikoverse. So if you click on that rim color slot, go to our baked, go to our body, we're going to select that ORM map. And you'll see it does look kind of weird here because it ends up making our model have this kind of orange glow to it. So it's going to look a bit weird here in Blender, but when we export it to Mikoverse, you'll see that it ends up looking a lot different. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm also going to real quick select our hair, and I'm just going to delete the baked the rim color off the hair for now, because it doesn't need to be super you know, shiny and all over the place right now. So it's going to look a little bit awkward here in Blender, but that's fine. We're going to go over here to export and export our VRM under baked, and we'll type in fantasy waifu underscore ORM, just kind of like as an example here. So we'll give that a second to export. It's now exported. We can open up Mikoverse now and find our other window here. Now again, these textures, they only work on the high poly mode. They do not work on the toon mode, but they will work on the high poly mode. So now we can select our avatar, click load, and you'll see that now our avatar is nice and shiny the way we had it. And the arms are using, the arms are set to metallic 1. So the stuff on the arms, like I said, if you set metallicness to 1, it darkens the texture a lot. So you might need to brighten up your texture in Photoshop if you're finding that your texture is getting too dark. But now we have our nice and shiny armor here, with it being you know, properly normal mapped and whatnot. So that is one of the other neat features of Mikoverse. When you have your VRM models, you can set these maps, and that's how you do shininess, and it's actual like legitimate reflection of light. Whereas in Unity, if you're doing a matte cap, the matte cap won't be able to change colors or anything. But here, because it uses actual lighting for it, if you're going to the bedroom, for example, you'll see that the reflection of the different colors in the bedroom ends up being what applies to the shininess of the metal now. So we have like the purple lights that are going on in here. There's a blue light in here somewhere. We got just the white light from the window applying. So that is one of the nice benefits of using Mikoverse for your avatar. It's being able to do these kinds of textures for it. Really helpful, really cool stuff. Let's see here, what time is it right now? It is 1:15 p.m. How long have I been live for? I've been live for, I don't even know how long. OBS doesn't actually, oh, 2 hours. Okay, yeah, we still have time. Okay. So I think for the last bit of tonight, we're going to pay some homage to Code Miko herself. So I'm going to close out Mikoverse, okay, and we're going to pay some homage to Code Miko here. Let me go ahead and hit Control S to save here. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up two other apps here. So first off, let's close out Unity. I'll make sure Unity is closed. Again, just hit Control S in Unity as well. So what we're going to do is one of the things that I saw Code Miko do a long time ago, and I always thought was the coolest thing ever, is Code Miko had a shirt that displayed text or Twitch's chat on the shirt. So it's not something that can be done in Mikoverse. So we're gonna need to use Warudo for it. But people have been asking me for a long time, how did I do it? And I want to be able to show how that worked. So give me a moment here to make sure this gets saved. I thought I already hit Control S and it's not saving. But I'm gonna pull up Warudo real quick. And we're also going to pull up VRChat Studio because I feel like VRChat Studio is probably going to be the easiest, fastest way to kind of explain how it works. And I know the topology of VRChat really well because we will have to do a little bit of trickery in Blender for it to work fully. So I'm going to just select my tutorial waifu. It's going to load tutorial waifu real quick. So this is tutorial waifu. She is a very simple, very basic waifu that I basically created to use for tutorials. She has the only thing that is basically different from the default model is that she has twin tails. So she really doesn't have anything special other than the twin tails going for her. But this is tutorial waifu. We're going to change her outfit a bit. So let's find here. What is going on over here? Oh, hold up. I forgot that I had webcam live link still open, and now Warudo is freaking the hell out because it's trying to use the same webcam. Hold on one second. Editor, OpenCFace, delete OpenCFace. We don't need OpenCFace here. Okay. Sorry about that. Warudo was just absolutely freaking out on me right now. So we're just going to, put her into a really basic outfit here. We're just going to basically find a shirt. So we have a shirt and some pants. Good enough. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy. I do have fancier stuff, but let's see. Do I have any default cropped shirts? I really like cropped shirts. I enjoy a good midriff, and I'm sure others do too, probably. But let's see what we have here. This one could probably work. Maybe not. Then we'll just go back to our default shirt here. Let's make it a darker shirt. Make it colored, okay? So we want it to be kind of colored here. So let's go with this black shirt. And probably leave all this stuff, fairly default here. And we'll give her a skirt as well because pants are the enemy. So only skirts allowed. Pants are the enemy. So we'll give her this cute little skirt. We can give her some thigh-high socks or something. Let's give her that. We'll leave the shoes as they are. Okay, so we have a fairly, very, very basic waifu here. Okay, nothing too fancy. And so I call her tutorial waifu because she's not meant to be fancy at all. Yeah, so we're just gonna export her real quick. And make sure we're not deleting transparent meshes. Okay, we'll make sure we don't delete transparent meshes. I'm gonna go to export tutorial waifu. Just leave her as she is. And we're gonna export this model. And let's do a new folder and go chat shirt. So we're gonna put her into this chat shirt folder, tutorial waifu .vrm. And now we can close out VRChat. We don't need VRChat any further anymore. So we'll close out VRChat. And we'll close out Unity. And then we'll open Blender back up. Why is it trying to say... Oh, okay, whatever. We'll just exit Unity without saving. So we're going to do a new scene. So it's going to go to new, save this one as it is. We have our default cube here. Delete our default cube. And we're going to import our tutorial waifu. So let's go ahead and find where we save tutorial waifu at, chat shirt. Extract textures into folder. We want to make sure we're extracting the textures into the folder. Import our VRM. Now, in order to make CodeMiko's shirt work, we do have to edit the mesh, because otherwise the texture is going to just get all over the place. It's going to be all wonky of a texture. So let's scroll in real quick, and we're just going to close this bottom area up. Let's scroll down and select our shirt mesh here. Let's hide the bones for now, and we'll hide all the extras. We don't need all that extra stuff to be shown. But let's go ahead and hit tab to go into edit mode. Okay. Now we want to select a portion of the shirt where we're going to have our text display. So, for example, maybe we only want the text to display in this area of the shirt. We can also, kind of extend that up a bit. Maybe, extend it about here. And this actually gives us like a nice square to work with, but you can do it however you want. I think in my original test, I only had it like down here on the boobs in my original testing, but we can just make it a nice little square area here. Okay, so give us plenty of surface area to work with. Now, once that's selected, we're going to hit Shift D, and then we're going to hit Y, and we're just going to drag it up just a tiny bit, so that way it doesn't clip through. It doesn't need to be, super far out, but there we go. That is now good enough. Now we need to create a new texture, a new material. So click the plus button to make a new material, and make a new material. We're going to label this chat shirt for the material name. And we do want to tell this to be mtune. So we're going to hit mtune here. Now, if we... now what we want to do is set the alpha to 0. Actually, no, the alpha should be 1, I think. Yeah, the alpha should be 1. We'll set it to transparent, and we'll leave it as it is for that. I'm trying to remember the exact steps that I did for it, but basically, we don't want to get any have any like color, right? It's not going to have materials to it. Make sure we also assign it. So you can see here, we now have this white area here. This is where our texture is going to be at, like I said. So we have that there. Make sure this is set to alpha blend, and we're on transparent with double-sided. We don't need Z-Write mode on. Z-Write mode is something that sometimes is needed, sometimes not. It's kind of hard to really say when it is and when it isn't, but it's a Unity specific thing, and it is often just a pain in the ass to work with. So I try to just kind of ignore it if I can. I'm going to set both of these here. I set these to 0. Actually, no, we can leave those as they are. Yeah, we can leave those as they were. Yeah, make sure that it's just all set there. So now we need to make sure this is UV mapped. So as you can see here, put this to UV editor. So we see here in UV editor now, it is very tiny of a space. We need it to cover the entire thing. So just gonna hit Shift and bring it up as big as we can. And sometimes you might need to, hit G and bring it down. I want it to be as big as we can up here towards the top of the texture. And technically what we could do is, bring the whole thing, like we could do like UV unwrap and have it, unwrap it like that, and then maybe rotate it so it covers the entire square. That's actually probably what we should do. We're gonna hit R, and then bring it down negative 90 degrees, and then if we need to, we can hit G and X to move it over. Okay, so this is now our UV mapping for that portion of the shirt. Okay, so now our shirt has a material assigned. It's now UV mapped to cover that whole square, and now we can export our model here. So we're going to label it tutorial waifu underscore edit, or just tutorial waifu underscore edit, so we know that this is our edited waifu now. So now that is there, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Warudo over. So here's Warudo. This is a blueprint I was working on. Here's my main design. I don't have any tracking enabled right now. Let's create a new scene altogether. So, wrong button. So I'm just going to create a completely new scene. By going down here, it's going to click new scene, and we'll label this chat shirt for the scene. Okay, so it's going to give it a moment here to load up a new scene. We have our basic setup. I'm going to go to character in active, and I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to click open characters folder. That's going to give us this folder here. Let's open up the, so if I go to tutorial, avatars, chat shirt, and just going to copy and paste the model over. So it's going to place it now into this list. And if I scroll down, we'll find tutorial waifu underscore edit.vrm. So this is the first part, okay? So obviously, no, we're not going to want that to be our texture, okay? But what we're going to do now is we go blueprints. We're going to create a new blueprint. Well, I guess first off, let's add tracking. So I would do setup motion capture. I'm just going to do face. Going to do media pipe. Just leave it as VRM. Select a camera that's not currently in use. And just going to disable all this. And I usually have this enabled. Put no for pose tracking right now. And okay, so for whatever reason, oh, there we go. Yay, okay, see, we have our tracking working now. So now our tracking's working. Cool. Now what we need to do is move our character off to the side for now. And let's move this window. I'm actually going to adjust some settings here. So let's set this into free look. We set the camera transform. And let's do this. Orthographic projection. The FOV should be like 3. Okay. And then that'll put us down here off to the side. Alright, and a couple other settings to adjust. I need to go over here to my tracker settings, go to pendulum. I usually just turn these off because they get super annoying to me. So I usually actually just delete or turn pendulums off entirely there. There we go. And then it depends on your model and your camera that you're using, all your settings, whatever camera it is you're using. But I often find that I have to turn a lot of these settings down to either 0.1, or I turn them down to just off. But I'll go 0.1. There we go. Now we're not moving anymore, so I'm not going to be annoyed. We have a new blueprint here, and in order to do Code Miko's shirt, what we actually need is to go to the Discover tab, and you want to you want to find this node here called Material Properties Accessor Nodes. So I'm going to find these in the workshop, subscribe to it on the workshop, and that's a node that we're going to need to make CodeMiko shirt a reality. We're also going to want to add an asset here. So I'm going to go to Add Asset, and we're going to add a screen asset. Okay. Now, for the screen asset, what we're going to be using specifically is the chat box here from what's called Streamlabs. So I'm going to hit copy. It's going to copy the URL, and we're going to go to content type, switch it to browser, and we're going to type in that browser there. And what we can do just to make sure stuff is working is bring it up, and let's try to figure out where it's located at, because it's around here somewhere. But we are it should be like 1 or so. Let's reset this transform, and we'll bring this up. It should be showing here somewhere. I don't want to bend. Give me a second just to find where it's at. The problem is we're in orthographic view right now. So orthographic view does kind of like weird stuff in Warudo. I wouldn't really like consider it truly orthographic, in all honesty. Why is it not showing up here at all? Let me take it out of orthographic view real quick. Orthographic projection. Scroll back, and let's set our field of view back to 35. Oh, okay. There we go. No, it's just it would see, it's the scaling of it actually is probably what the issue is. And also we want it to be a square size, so I'm just gonna set it to a square real quick. So under the asset settings, you want the pixel size to be 1024 by 1024. That's what we're gonna be using for it. And we can bring it up and off to the side real quick, and we'll probably bring the scaling down. This is mostly just so we can check that stuff is working. So now we can go back to our camera, and let's set this back to orthographic projection, and we're going to set our thing to 3. There we go. Put ourselves on the side there. And we can now grab our screen and bring our screen up. We should be able to see it here in a second. Or not. I feel like it's just screwed when it comes to orthographic projection for the thing. Yeah, I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so we can see here our Twitch chat here off to the side. There we go. Yay! Twitch chat is kind of working there on the side now. Bring it down and off to the corner. Okay. I believe my head is actually like blocking it from view, but I mainly just wanted to, you know, make sure that it was working. So we have our chat box here off to the side, right? But we need that chat box to be on our shirt. So the way to do that is we go to your blueprints, and we're going to add a couple nodes here. So first what we're going to do is on update. This makes the blueprint run every single frame. So you want it to run every single frame. We're going to type in get material and then texture. Okay, it's going to do get material texture. We also need to do a set material texture. Make sure you can spell better than I can spell. So I'm going to grab set material texture as well. So what we're going to do is basically we're copying the texture from one item and applying that texture to a second item. And I'm hoping my head's not too much in the way. over on the other computer there. But and then we might also need a set material texture scale that sometimes is required, and same for set material texture offset. Those are kind of optional, but sometimes you need them, sometimes you don't. It just kind of depends on what it is you're doing. So before we run it, go and we're going to click on our get material texture here. We're going to select the screen and go to material and select screen unlit, and then underscore main text for the property. Okay, now we're going to connect that output to the texture input of the set material texture node, and for that one our target is our character. And then you're going to click add element, and you're going to select the material. Now we named it chat shirt. Okay, so chat shirt is what we named the material. And then you're going to also set that to main text. Okay, and now we can drag that there, and there we go. Now we have it showing up there, but you can see here it's really tiny. So there's good things we can do to kind of help it not be tiny. We can connect it to the scale, and again select our character. We're going to select our chat shirt and underscore main text, and make this 1 and 1, and now we can scale this up. So if we need to do, like, for example, we do 2 and 2. Actually, that's making it the opposite of what we want. 0.5. I might have to just like adjust it on the other on the other side. Okay, set this to 1 1. Trying to remember how this worked. There we go. 2 5, and then this one should also be 2 5, and then we're gonna have to use the offset. So same thing. Like I said, sometimes you just have to kind of play around with these settings for it. But this is how I created CodeMiko's shirt in Warudo. Very easy to do. Oh, we're upside down now. Why are we upside down? Yeah, we're upside down now. That is the wrong direction. We're getting there. There we go. Okay. And like I said, you can play around with it. So we can adjust it however we need. And you can also, it's also affected by these settings here, right? So if you make this smaller, for example, if you make this pixel size smaller, if we did like, I don't know, we'll do like 480 by 480, for example, that also will affect it. And maybe if you do it that way, maybe you don't need to do the scale then. Maybe can we set the scale back to 1 to 1? And that might be a little bit better. You might need to, flip it upside down. There we go. So we flipped it upside down now. And let's go ahead and reset this. And there we go. Now we have our chat box there. And if we need to make it smaller or bigger, it's actually probably better, like I said, probably better to do it through this asset menu here. It does have to like resize itself whenever you do it this way though. So if we do like 480 by 240, we can see it's kind of like scaled weird, which is why you want it to be like a square texture for it. But now we have CodeMiko's chat shirt, and if I reset our camera here, so let's go back to our default field of view and turn off orthographic, and we'll reset our camera transform and hide that. We now have our shirt working perfectly fine, and as you can see here, you guys type in chat, it'll update on the shirt itself, and you can clearly see it's actually part of that texture now. So that was how I was able to recreate CodeMiko's shirt. And you don't need to have this screen in view. So usually what I do with the screens is I'll set them to like 0.001. That way they kind of just like aren't visible at all. Yeah, and you can even just set it to like a scale of 0, and that should work. Obviously, we can just turn off our gizmo there. And yeah, so and then just depends on, you know, if we wanted to, you know, delete those vertices that we set up here on the top. You can make it whatever aspect ratio you want if you delete those vertices. And yeah, I remember I saw this feature on CodeMiko's stream, gosh, I don't know, like a year ago, maybe. And I just was like, that is super awesome. How do I do that? And I wasn't able to figure it out until I started using Warudo, and I was like, cool, now we have the way to do that. So there we go. We've also, as a bonus for today, paid some homage to CodeMiko herself, and I'm really thankful for, you know, the stuff that she does. She's really, you know, paving the way for a lot of things motion capture wise, and I'm hoping Mikoverse comes out really well in the near future, because it's really cool to see, even in its current state. Sorry, I was hydrating and hydrated a little too much. But I think that's gonna probably wrap it up for the tutorials today. I will try to slice this up. I really just need to have someone else slice things up for me, because I just don't really have the time, and as someone who does editing like professionally, I also don't like to edit my own like videos. It's I don't know how to explain it, but I just really don't like editing my own videos. And since you redeemed throw stuff, we're gonna throw a bunch of stuff at me. Throw prop that character, and let's do a for loop. I'm gonna do a for loop here. Go to loop body, and we'll do 100 items. How about that? We'll do 100 items, 0.01, and then target me, target prop. I don't know what prop. We'll throw a bunch of leaks at me. How about that? We'll throw a bunch of leaks. And we don't need any sound really. Viewport's fine. Yeah, it's all good there. 100 Easter eggs. I don't think I have. I don't think I have any props that are eggs right now. Yeah, I don't think I have any props that are eggs. I can model an egg real quickly. Like, modeling an egg would be like super easy to do because it's just a sphere essentially. But we'll throw leaks. Ragdoll. Activate character ragdoll on collide. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have them subscribed. They're not downloaded right now. I think all that's fine right there. So here we go. Since you asked for it. Oh, I forgot the leaks were like gigantic. I forgot that yeah. The leaks ended up being like gigantic for whatever reason. I don't know why they did. It's a me problem. Yeah, even at that scale. Oh, and there's no colliders on the leaks too. I just realized that. So it's kind of pointless. I forgot I did not add any colliders to the leaks. So I guess I'll have to fix that at some point. We could just set it to, I don't know, I guess, what, a penguin? We'll throw penguins at me. And the penguins can be scaled properly. There we go. I need to adjust the ragdoll settings, but we have successfully thrown 100 penguins at me. Hooray. Alright, but yeah, I think that's probably going to be it for the tutorials today. I still need to eat breakfast. I haven't eaten breakfast yet, and I do want to work on other stuff. But yeah, I might see if I can find someone else to splice everything up into videos for me, because I edit for a living and want to spend more time in Adobe Premiere outside of work if I can avoid it. So but I hope it was well informative for how to convert VRChat to Mikoverse, and how to convert you know, how to do those textures, and also going back to the whole VRChat model thing. Oh, I just hit the wrong button. That VRChat model that we did convert, we can come here and just double check, make sure that she works here in Warudo. So I was gonna grab her real quick. This tutorial, VRChat, Maya for edit, VR Mikoverse. We're gonna throw her in here somewhere, and let's just find where she's at. Maya VRM conversion, and oh, okay. So the spring bones, no, they should be working. Okay, why are my spring bones not working? I'm gonna have to double check something with Warudo later, because the spring bones should be active. And apparently they're not for whatever reason. Spine, okay, enabled. Try to remember what worked for Warudo, because sometimes stuff is just like weird with how it works. Expressions, import VRM expressions. That didn't import anything at all too. Yeah, I think like Warudo is probably just being weird. Wind, VRM. Oh, see, the spring bones are there. So yeah, the spring bones are working, because clearly the wind is affecting them. It's just they're not like bouncing about when I bounce about, but they are working. So yeah, everything does seem to be working then. I'm going to turn that off. And it's probably just because Unity needs like less stiffness and whatnot than Unreal. I feel like I'll probably have to like figure out some sort of conversion chart for if you want to replicate physics from Unreal or from Unity and Unreal. Maybe I should make like some sort of like conversion chart or something for settings that just look good. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But yeah, there we go. There we have it. We converted this character. She works in Warudo. She works in Mikoverse. We did not add colliders because there's just a lot involved for adding colliders, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it. And we covered, you know, some of those other textures for Mikoverse, and we created Kodemiko shirt. So with all that, let's head back over here, make sure my mouse is set to the correct computer. Yay for KVM switches. Being able to switch back and forth between devices is... Okay, so yeah, again, thank you everyone for watching. Glad to have you all here. I'll try to slice this up, and I'll figure out some other tutorials to do for next week, for next Saturday. But I'm going to head off now. I'm going to try to get some food. I will be on Discord. If you need me for anything, ping me on Discord, ping me on Twitter, either one. And I try to be as helpful as I can where I can. So I will see you all on Discord or later today. There's the VM stuff they added. Wait, did they add VMC to Mikoverse already? Oh, I'm still gonna have to try that out. Yeah, if VMC is added to Mikoverse, I will try that out. Actually, before I get off then, let me pull Mikoverse back up then and see real quick. Let's see here, Mikoverse. Which camera is here? There's a new patch. Well, usually it downloads patches pretty quickly for me. I'm gonna hide that over here. Sorry y'all don't see my password. I guess host, meeting table, offline, session, and I'll just import an avatar real quick. Local file. Here, that avatar is pretty heavy, so I don't want to load the avatar just due to how heavy it is. Let's try this one. We'll load our tutorial waifu up. Okay, so this tutorial waifu is here. I'm guessing it's probably going to be under advanced, right? Under advanced mode. Settings. General. Spawner. Interaction manager. It's not under interaction manager. Avatar settings. I am not seeing it, so maybe I am not as oh wait, never mind, here it is. Aha. So yeah, so we have Xsens, you have Xsens, VRM, blend shapes only, pose only. Oh, okay, so go to enable. So we're gonna click enable VMC. And since we have Warudo open, we can actually use Warudo to send VMC over if we wanted to. So let me go ahead and grab Warudo real quick. So if I go here and grab the Warudo thing, usually you want to use the same exact model in both programs. So we'll just pull up our tutorial waifu. And let's enable hand tracking on here. So I'm gonna go set up motion capture. It's going to bitch at me that it's removing the motion capture, so give it a second. Media pipe is so helpful for like this stuff. It's such a good tracking system. And we'll do media pipe as well. Yeah, sure, use keyboard. Actually, no, we don't need those right now. Okay. So we'll have hand tracking set up here in a second. And then, so if we want to send the VMC out from like Warudo, for example, you can see here, I got my hand tracking up. It's tracking the wrong hand. I'm holding my left hand up and it's moving my right hand. But aside from that annoyance, invert hands. No, there we go. Now we got the correct hand. And let's turn off these pendulums again. I always turn them off. Those pendulums are super annoying to me. So just give me a second while I reset everything to where I like it. Okay, so we have a little bit of movement going for us. Calibrate. Okay, so in Warudo, if you want to send VMC out of Warudo, I'm going to click Add Asset down here and scroll down to External Integration to VMC Sender. And we're just going to select our character, and usually the port shouldn't need to be changed. Let's see here. I kind of wish I knew what port Mikoverse was using for it. But VMC is enabled. Let me see here. Where's Warudo? Editor. Set this to 3.9. And there we go. Okay. Voila. So you want to make sure the port is 39539. But now, as you can see here, we have our hand tracking sending over to Mikoverse with VMC. So yeah, it's as simple as just click enable VMC and Mikoverse. And then whatever program you're using, it could be virtual motion capture itself. It could be Warudo. You can use VRM posing desktop, for example. So if you want to do like custom poses, VRM posing desktop will work for that. But this is all webcam based tracking because I'm too lazy to turn on Elite Motion right now. Yeah, we have our tracking now working through from Warudo over to Mikoverse. Now I am noticing the blend shapes are not going through. Yeah, the face shapes are not going through. Eye tracking's working. Just not mouth tracking for whatever reason. The mouth tracking's not tracking. um, I wonder if there's like an extra setting for that somewhere in here. There's probably a setting for it. AR kit device. There's something about it in Discord. I'll have to check later. But I didn't even realize that was added now. But yeah, we can use we can do stuff. And so let's say you want to do like a cool pose, right? Let me close out Warudo. Say you're taking screenshots. You want to do a cool screenshot thing with Mikoverse. I'm gonna go to my Steam library real quick. It's gonna take a second to load because I don't know why it's being slow. I was told Steam to open up my Steam library, and okay, there it goes. So let me go over here. Of course, there's an update. It's a 32 megabyte update, so just give it a second to download that. But there's this really awesome tool called VRM Posing Desktop. It is like $5 on Steam, I believe. Let's see if I can see the price. It's $12 right now. So it's $12. Sometimes it'll go on sale. But this app here is really awesome. So if you want to do screenshots in Mikoverse, and you want to have like a really cool looking pose, you want to go ahead and download that tool, and I'll show you how to use it real quick. Let me go ahead and close Blender out. I thought I already closed Blender out, but I guess not. Okay, let's go ahead and close out Steam now, and it's going to load VRM posing right here. The window small. Okay, maybe not that small. We'll bring the window to like right here, okay? Oh wait, there's no I forgot there's no like orbit mode. Okay, so here, we'll put ourselves like right here on the corner. Alright. And we'll zoom out. Like so. So if you have VRM Posing Desktop, you can open it up over here. You're going to click on the first let's add our model, okay? Let's make sure our model is matching. So with our model matching here. Delete the old one. We can do is click on VMC protocol, and it's going to be that default port 39539. Just hit send pose. So I can see now we're now T-posed over here in Mikoverse. I was trying to move the camera, damn it. So we're now T-posed over here in Mikoverse. And there's a lot of like built-in poses that are really cool. So you have a bunch of built-in poses here that you can do, and you can see as I toggle them on here in VRM Posing, it's also being mirrored in Mikoverse. So a lot of cool options for us. Another thing that is really neat is that there actually is animation as well here. So if you wanted to, add an animation to it, we can add, a couple like things here, and you might need to play around with some of the settings here, maybe make them a little bit longer lasting. So let's do that real quick, make these a little bit longer. But yeah, you can do cool little animations with VRM Posing Desktop. And yeah, with the VMC, as you can see, it's going straight to Mikoverse, which is really awesome now. So yeah, if you want to do screenshots, for example, maybe you're gonna be in the neighborhood or the tavern maps, and you want to do a really cool pose, definitely check out VRM Posing Desktop. And it was as simple as just coming over here to Mikoverse, clicking VMC. Just remember the port is 39539 is the port. You can also tell it to do root transform and expression as well. I don't know if the expressions will go or carry over. Yeah, they're not carrying over. Yeah, the expressions aren't carrying over for whatever reason, but yeah, you can totally do magical grow animation or whatever. You can also turn on the spring bones as well. So if you turn spring bones on in VRM Posing Desktop, you'll see we're getting physics applied here as well. You can use this to add wind, for example. So we can turn on the wind, and let's turn off this loop. No, it seems to be pretty instant. It looks to be pretty instant to me. So I was going to, you know, clear out, delete all that. Let's find a pose that we like. Yeah, it seems to be fairly instant for the most part. Like very, very slight delay. Just very, very slight delay. But let's say we go here, right? And then we can turn on wind. And the wind should be... Oh, man. I guess the wind's not affecting it. Okay. I thought the wind would be applying through VMC, but it seems not. So yeah, I guess wind isn't applying. I thought wind would work, but I'm wrong. Yeah, wind's not applying. But still, like, it's pretty instantaneous. As you can see here, it works rather quickly. And it does have that animation feature as well if you want to add animations to it. You know, if you want to do like a custom dance, maybe we add this here, and then, you know, we have that there. We do need to, you know, probably make these longer, so we can go, like, I don't know, 20 for both of these. There you go. And yeah, now we have a little custom dance going on there. Probably need to actually do a frame going back. So this frame is what? Which one is this one? So this is... That's up, it's down. Which one is what? I want these also to be east in and out as well. East in and out just always looks better. So we're going up. So we need to bring left hand down. And add. And then make this 20 and east and out. There we go. And look at that. Now we have custom animation going on, custom dance here in Mikoverse. Really cool stuff. I'm glad to see VMC is finally working, because that means I can now use my hand tracking properly. And because that is working, that means you can also use Vive trackers, or you can use a Oculus controller as well for either hand tracking or full body tracking. So that is really awesome to see that we now have the VMC support in there. I'm definitely going to be playing around with this a lot more now. See what I can do. But there you have it. I really probably should try to find some breakfast or something here in a moment. But yeah, the VMC stuff is really cool now. Alright, thank you all for watching. you guys have a suggestion for rating, because I don't actually have Twitch pulled open on my computer right now, so if you have any suggestions for rating, I will go ahead and send a raid out to whoever. Yeah. Here, /raid. I guess I could pull up Twitch on my phone or in a different browser. I just don't want to like have the backend. Hannah is live. Okay. Let's go say hi to Hannah then. I need her Twitch ID. Give me a second here. She's playing video game. Actually, can I pull up Twitch without doxing myself? Let me pull this up to a different window. Does it have me logged in? Okay, it has me logged in already. What's her ID? I guess I'll pull it from Discord. Discord. VRChat. See here. Hannah Banana. There we go. /raid Hannah Banana. All right, let's go say hi to Hannah, and I'm going to try to get some food here in a moment. But again, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.